my plan is to get better on the bike. Part of that is joining other people. The problem is, when I join other groups, I tend to be one of the, let's just say, less accomplished cyclists. So I find it harder. So I wanted to give a few tips on just surviving and riding with groups when you're not the one that's at the front. Morning, morning. So, Sunday rides, something I haven't really done a huge amount of. I've been trying to do more, especially with the local lot, because they're very good cyclists. And I think that just tagging on will help me improve. And that's the goal. So, what can I do when I join a group when I'm not, you know, the most accomplished? What can I do that doesn't ruin the riding experience and also gets a good training session in for me? Gosh, I'm blowing today. I am tired. Do cyclists say that the whole time? I am tired. Whew. Okay, Sunday ride. I think it's a big one incoming. Next weekend, I'm riding with them as well for the Marlow Kites 100 miler, and I have a sneaky feeling that is going to be a smash fest. So today is just about learning to ride with the guys, seeing what I can do to not ruin their experience. Look at the size of these houses. Beaconsfield, you are crazy. Sunday morning, 8:45. Here comes the long ride. Is it even a group ride if you don't use a coffee shop as a meeting point of where to kind of catch up with the crew? So Costa, Beaconsfield, that's our meet point. Also, I know cycling can be a little bit elitist sometimes, but I just want to say, as someone that's getting more and more into it, I turn up to these things on a bike that I built myself. So carbon frame and some nice wheels, but the components on it are just stuff that I pulled off other bikes. I've got a video on it that I'll tag at the top. So like, I am joining in on rides with guys that absolutely love cycling and have, not that it necessarily makes all the difference, but have great bikes. I don't feel ashamed at all to turn up on just the bike that I have, because everyone's obviously really welcoming. I do think it makes a little bit of a difference, because I have ridden the MV Melee for a while, and that was so nice to ride. But still, you know, I'm mechanical gearing, like, you know, I just thought I'd share that. It doesn't really matter if you haven't turned up to a group ride before. Just ride what you got. That's it. Right, talking of which, let's go ride.
Right, steady, not 100% today, just very tight next week.
So we're going up into the Chilterns for a few climbs, I think, but the pace is a little bit easier than it was last week. Well, that's what we've said to start with anyway. So a steady Sunday ride, which is what I need. Don't want to call it zone 2 because you can obviously hear me working hard, but it's nice. All's going pretty well so far. The tempo's been a bit lower than last week, but there are still periods when we ride hard. I think we're about to do a climb now. Not looking forward to it. So we just did an out and back, doing up and offs on the way back, and I'm by far the worst here. I lasted like long enough, but it just got to the point where we're holding 50k an hour, and it's too much for me at the moment, so I end up dropping off the group. Luckily there was a town coming up, so we've recouped. So even on like an easy ride, you've always got to factor in some point where the guys want to go hard. So it's hard finding that balance, being new to a group and being the weakest member. But still, I feel like I get some benefit out of joining on those up and offs. They didn't stop for me, they carried on till the village and then slowed down. Yeah, okay. This is more than I thought it was going to be for a Sunday morning. Right guys, I have survived another Sunday ride and that went okay. I did get dropped doing the up and offs after a few minutes, just way too much for me. I was cycling with a group of 4 and again, like those guys, they have quite a few of the KOMs in the area, so like a real strong group of cyclists, and they love doing little up and off efforts. So what I do want to do is put together some tips if you are maybe a little bit anxious about joining a group and you think you might be like the weaker cyclist in the group. So give me a sec and I will give you my 3 tips. Right, so my first tip, if you are anxious about joining a group, there was only 4 of us today, so it's not like a big group. My first tip is to just beforehand, just double check what type of ride it is. Scott invited me along and he said, hey, do you want to ride on Sunday? And the first thing I said was, listen, I'm a bit tired. My training is quite hard at the moment. Is it going to be a hard ride like it was when we did the chain gang, or is it going to be a little bit easier? He said, well, today's going to be an easier ride, so don't worry about it, because that's the purpose of the ride. You know, everyone knew it was going to be a little bit more gentle and not just a hardcore smash, which I think was very important, because it meant, which is my second tip, it meant that when I was communicating on the ride, so the first tip is just double check, like just prepare the guys, ask the guys, and if they had said it's going to be a hard ride, I probably would have said, oh no, I'm fine, I'll go out for a long zone 2 on my own. My second tip is on the ride, I was more than happy, because I kind of asked that question beforehand, just to, you know, on the up and offs, when I dropped off, I just shouted off, and then just kind of, you know, a couple of minutes where they carried on and we met in the village further up. So I was happy to communicate that and just chat to the guys and just explain, you know, I'm quite new to it all. I don't quite have the legs that these guys have. So I'm happy to join in, but if they leave me, then that's fine. I guess my third tip is if you can be self-sufficient, so if you can just be prepared. I know that like mostly you'll be joining no drop rides, right? And that's what our ride was. It was a no drop, like no one drops, everyone stays together. But just be prepared that, you know, if they do want to push on, like I would happily just say, hey guys, look, you guys are riding way too hard. I'll happily bumble around and make my own way home. And I know that's kind of like a sucky thing, especially on a no drop ride. I don't think they would have let me. If I'd said that, I think they would have just happily just slowed the pace down. But we didn't quite get to that point. But I was prepared for that. Like that was my own thing. It's like if I'm joining a group who I know on an easy day I still have to work to stay with, then I was just prepared that if it does go kind of all pear-shaped, then I would make my own way home, and that's fine. I'm not too bothered by that. I'll probably just go and find a coffee shop and grab some croissants on a Sunday. But yeah, those are my 3 tips for like, because I don't want people to feel anxious. And I was chatting to the guys about it. It's like, you don't feel anxious about trying to join in with these groups. You know, chatting to the guys, they've all been cyclists for like such a long time, and they have the experience and the legs, and I'm new to this and I don't have the legs. So they understand that, and they're happy to, you know, they like having their little efforts. But I think that was key. Like, they were very welcoming. What I have found is every group that I've been to has been incredibly welcoming. But because I've been happy to communicate, like, is it a hard ride and da-da-da. Anyway, that's enough from me, guys. Next weekend with that group, we have a 100-mile ride with the Marlow riders, the Marlow Red Kites, and it's 100 miles. And that group is aiming for 4 hours 45. So that is going to be an absolute hammerfest. So I need to rest and recover for the next 5-6 days. So I've got a week from now until next week, and then we're doing flat out 100 miles. We'll see how that one goes, huh? Cheers guys, see you on the next one.